TK is more than just high ignitability spark plugs and precision sensors. They're about growing the car community. This is why they're introducing Shop Squad, an automotive meeting place for shop owners, service writers, technicians, students, and industry professionals to come together and share knowledge and encourage self-growth. Enrolling is free, and you have access to on-demand training, digital newsletters, product launch information, and more. Woo!
Drifting is not just a sport, it's culture, it's in our blood.
It's a fine line that you have to walk. You have to be able to adapt on the fly and be able to drive on your instinct.
Tires are what we live and breathe in Formula D. We couldn't do this without them.
Is there an argument about whether pumice or walnut shell is the best abrasive in your hand cleaner? Not anymore. Fast Orange Premium brings the two abrasives together in one great heavy-duty hand cleaner that includes advanced skin protection. It's our best hand cleaner ever, and that's why we simply named it Premium. Fast Orange. We know a few things about cleaning hands.
Like that now, do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. To the rhythm down on the dance floor. Do you like that now? Do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south, east to the west, yeah, we're going out, out. Do you like that now? Do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get 4, 3, 2, 1. Shout to the north side, shout to the south, step to the rhythm down on the dance floor. Do you like that now? Do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south, east to the west, yeah, we're going out, out. If you're in town, then give me a shout. Why you want that? To the north side, shout to the south, step to the rhythm down on the dance floor. Do you like that now? Do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south, east to the west, yeah, we're going out, out. If you're in town, then give me a shout. Why you want that? Take it back to your house.
Look at this, it's a sold-out crowd. Welcome to the streets of Long Beach. Make some noise for the Drip Nation. This is the year to watch. Probably the most talented drifters in the world. He's exploding towards his first outside zone. Ooh, perfect. Yo, Ryan Kirk wants it. Green lights are on. That third out himself. Send it, here we go. Look at this. Whoa, James Dean explodes that back bumper. Oh boy. Tangled up. Oh no. Castro, big hit.
That was a fun one.
That was going to be a banger for us.
Wow, this is an absolute gladiator battle right here. Yes! Good job, Steve. Matt Field spins and goes into the wall. Your winner, Matt Field! You paid for the whole seat, but you're only going to use the edge.
tips. Think you the you're not even the fault. I be going hard. I'm breaking their hearts. Be quick, but I'm quicker. Be thick, but I'm thicker. She could be rich, but I'm richer.
Young girl, no one that back calling me splurge. Let me jump right on the curb. Make this ring fly like a bird. Spin on the first and the third. Solid, I'm keeping my word. Can't be my equal, I don't know what you heard. Crack up the phone, I swear. Keep me a stick if they purge.
The final touch to my dream build is a Sony Mobile ES system. Time to cruise with Sony Mobile ES.
Be focused. I tell myself, I got this. I'm the best there is.
The star is Frederick Osbo.
Looking for what comes next? For that moment when everything finally...
1 minute!
Whichever path you choose, it starts here.
Four, 3, 2, 1. Shout to the north side, shout to the south. Step to the rhythm down on the dance floor. Like that now, do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south. East to the west, yeah, we're going out. If you're in town, then give me a shout. Party all night, take it back to your house.
All right, everybody, what's going on out there in Long Beach tonight? Yeah, we are here, day 2. Some attrition. We started with 8, we've got 6. We've got another car joining us. Last night was a wild one. I am your host, Ryan Sage, alongside the legend of the sport, Ken Gucci. We're gonna kick things off right away and introduce you to our drivers here tonight. This is round 2. We did battle under the lights last night, and we're doing it again. We're gonna see if one of the drivers that's not out there right now is a driver that won, see if he can repeat. Are we waiting for him to come out, race control? We are? Okay. Well, we'll let him come on out. Don't want him to miss this opportunity, but as we get things underway, Ken, a lot of crazy stuff happening. It was a wild one yesterday.
Yeah, last night was definitely a show for the fans. We saw Forrest Wang and Rome CP in the finals with 2 spectacular pair of runs. And you know, the weather or the temperature here definitely plays a huge role in how the track condition changes. So I'm sure a lot of the drivers are fighting for you know, the optimum operating pressures for the track. But nonetheless, that didn't stop these guys from having fun out there, and we saw a lot of great battles, great runs on track. I personally have never driven this track when the temperatures drop this low, so I really don't know what to say or what to expect, but from my past experience in driving in colder temps, it's definitely challenging.
It's an interesting dynamic because, you know, last night was the first night. This is the second night, obviously, and you have to imagine there's going to be a slight cranking of the volume a little bit in terms of driving because, A, everybody knows what the track conditions are going to be like. There hasn't been much change overnight in terms of temperatures. And the second part is we're going home tonight, so might as well go crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's nothing left to, save as far as, your equipment goes. I mean, these guys are out here to put on a show for you guys, all the fans out here, and there's no point in saving it. So at this point, they're just going to give it their all, put on a great show for the fans, and show us what great drifting is all about.
All right, looks like we got our last driver out there. Let's begin the introductions. We're going to be starting closest to Grandstand 16. He put on a great show last night. You can see he sans a few parts of his car, and that's because he's one of the most aggressive drivers out here. Give it up for Jonathan Hurst. He's a current Pro Spec driver and a teammate of Jonathan. Had some good times last night out on here this course. He's going to come back and try to do it again. Give it up for Pro Spec driver Connor O'Sullivan. A very decorated motorsports athlete, a Pro Spec champion, looking to do some damage here tonight. Give it up for Robert Thorne. And number one of two, plays so many roles in both Pro Spec and Pro. A great driver overall. Strong competition last night. Give it up for Casey Cole. And as you can tell by the cars, his teammate, the Flowing Locks. Incredible driver in the Pro Series. Everybody make some noise for Daniel Stuckey. This gentleman made it to the finals last night. He's looking to do it again. The guy who's taking on is standing right next to him. Very special athlete, Rome Charpentier. And finally, arguably the most successful driver in Super Drift history. How many fingers have you won this event? How many times have you won this event, Forrest? 6 times? Okay. 6-time defending champion. Everybody make some noise for Forrest Wang! We're going to send the drivers on back. Kyle Mohan went out of competition earlier today. He is not going to be in competition, so we will have one bye round, but let's get our drivers back to the start line and begin this grade 8 competition. All right, so Ken, let's just give a refresher. You know, we don't know, how many fans were here yesterday compared to today, who was watching yesterday compared to today. This is a very dynamic, crazy track. You had some great success here just a week ago. As we put up the track map, kind of just take us through from a driver's perspective what it's like to be out there on the streets of Long Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually our season opener round here at Formula Drift Long Beach. And as the first round of the season, it's a very intimidating track. And we're going to start off with the start. We go through the chicanes, and where it says decel area, that's actually the initiation zone. So we'll initiate the car sideways before the last standing cone, which is not on the screen right now. We'll aim our car or the rear end towards OZ1 or outer zone 1, and then transition under the bridge where the Long Beach City College banner is towards outer zone 2, and then shoot the car towards outer zone 3 right in front of the judging stand right here, and then rotate the car once more to touch and go, crossing the inside clip 1 to the finish line.
Here's a little bit of what went down last night. There was the hometown boy, Kyle Mohan. We saw some good back and forth battles, drivers trying to make adjustments in real time, getting used to the grip. What were some of the standout moments for you?
I mean, we definitely saw a lot of great runs, but we also saw a lot of carnage on track. Some of these guys actually didn't drive the track last week. They're competing in the Pro Spec round, so drivers like Connor, he's only had maybe 4 laps here last night, and we saw him practicing earlier. He's got a few more under his belt, so we're expecting to see much better driving from all these guys tonight.
It's a great point that you mentioned, particularly with the pro spec drivers, is that, you know, they basically get 2 laps to practice on each night, plus competition. If you've never driven here, if you don't have the history that you have, 21 years in the sport, probably 500 laps on this track by now, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure how many you get, but that's got to be very scary. And how does that play into these keys to victory that the judges have, that you are judging along with Daijiro Yoshihara and Vernon van de Velde is here with us? How does that play into the overall scheme of things?
Well, Hurst mentioned something last night that I thought was kind of great. Like he said, if you're a Formula Drift driver, you got to get these tracks down in 2 laps. And, you know, like you said earlier, these guys got 2 laps to practice, and you really have to set the tone for the rest of the evening. But some of the keys to victory, especially here at Long Beach, is that you have to be really aggressive, have very quick and snappy initiations and transitions, get that proximity down to the wall, you know, basically glazing the wall from outer zone 1, 2 to 3, and through the touch and go, crossing the finish line. Now in tandem, some of the keys to victory, obviously you have to maintain proximity through the course to the lead car, mimic the lead car's line, angle, and transitions, if not better them or improve upon their angle and line, and then obviously position the car in the right pocket.
And what does it mean for the car to be in the pocket in drifting terms? Like, you're trying to be right up next to the car, kind of stay out of the smoke line so you can at least see, but sometimes that's unavoidable.
Right, I mean, there are some points on the track where we're pretty much counting seconds in the smoke because we really can't see what's going on in front of us. And you have to put almost 100% of your trust in the lead car, and a lot of times in tandem battles, you'll see, you know, a lot of carnage where the lead car goes into the wall, and unfortunately for the chase car, we're going where the lead car is going, so if they go into the wall, we're almost 90% going into the wall with them.
This is one of those tracks where the speed is not so much of up and down. You're speeding up into initiation, and you have what appears to be stable speed, generally speaking, until you get to that last inside clip. Is that last inside clip one of the more important parts of the course to get right and set up with everything else that happened prior to that?
Well, I think the initiation is really going to set the tone for the entirety of the course, not just the last inside clip. But more than anything, Long Beach track is actually one of those tracks that's very inconsistent in terms of track grip and condition. And especially when the temperatures drop, you'll notice that the grip levels change. And when you were, getting close to the outer zones in the lap prior, all of a sudden you're running super shallow. So the track conditions change pretty dramatically here.
All right, well, it's an honor to have you up here, Ken Gushi. The final round of the Super Drift event here on the streets of Long Beach. We'll take a quick break, come right back, and get our first battle up.
NTK is more than just high ignitability spark plugs and precision sensors. They're about growing the car community. This is why they're introducing Shop Squad, an automotive meeting place for shop owners, service writers, technicians, students, and industry professionals to come together and share knowledge and encourage self-growth. Enrolling is free, and you have access to on-demand training, digital newsletters, product launch information, and more. Woo!
Drifting is not just a sport, it's culture, it's in our blood.
It's a fine line that you have to walk. You have to be able to adapt on the fly and be able to drive on your instinct.
Tires are what we live and breathe in Formula D. We couldn't do this without them.
Is there an argument about whether pumice or walnut shell is the best abrasive in your hand cleaner? Not anymore. Fast Orange Premium brings the two abrasives together in one great heavy-duty hand cleaner that includes advanced skin protection. It's our best hand cleaner ever, and that's why we simply named it Premium. Fast Orange. We know a few things about cleaning hands.
Alrighty guys, so we just rolled up to the explosive ordnance disposal. We're gonna go put some bomb suits on and play with some little robots and check and see what that's about.
Yeah, so this is our large platform, the F6, kind of all reliable. Basically, we do everything that we needed to do. It's got a whole bunch of different cameras, detection equipment. They can lift about 45 pounds close range and 15 when it reaches out. We can get this thing to go upstairs.
M-Tigger, this is our deployed robot that we use for more like recons and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not as big as these guys, so it is backpackable, so you do lose some of the abilities that the other robots have. But for doing like recons or bringing down like a countercharge to actually blow up an ID or something like that, it gives us the main ability of a robot, which is to stay remote.
The EOD-10, weighs around or just under 80 pounds. It's meant to, if you are deployed, if the robots can't do the job or can't do anything or if it's something that we need to get our hands on and be really intricate, we'll go down, dress out in this bomb suit to protect us from any unintentional explosions. So some of the protective measures we have is a big metal plate from the whole midsection down to here. And we also have metal shin pads as well. The whole rest of the suit is Kevlar reinforced. So it's protective, but you also gotta be careful of the benefits. It gives you protection, but you get super hot in it and you could overheat, and then what we call bomb suit stupid. You really gotta make sure that your team leader is staying cool. You feel like it too, so you don't have a lot of flexibility. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
Just walk out.
Can you run a mile now?
No.
You want to try to lay down and get up? See how that
Yeah. Do it. Yes.
Just fall back for me.
Brandon, your turn.
So yeah, right now you're just gonna be moving arms.
If I was a bomb, we'd already be dead, Amanda.
And then your trigger back there can actually grip it, and then again you can move those analog sticks forward, and that's going to move like that forearm forward. Yeah, and kind of twist that ball.
Yeah, like okay, keep the commanding officer. Oh yeah.
Wow.
So on behalf of the 87th Explosive Ordnance Disposal Flight, we'd like to give you guys some challenge coins. And that's how we kind of issue them out as a handshake.
All right, here we are back in the mix. We've got the first battle up. Connor O'Sullivan and Rome Charpentier, Jonathan Hurst, and Casey Cole. It looks like it is Connor and Rome. Couldn't see from others here. All right, let's go. Here we go. Send them. First battle of the night. Here, Super Drift on the streets of Long Beach. Ken, they burn a set of tires every 2 laps. That's the crazy thing about drifting. We're about to see that happen right now. That's why we have to change these tires, but let's get things underway. Out front, Connor, Pro Spec driver, doing big duty here under the lights at Long Beach. Great start there by Connor. Rome Charpentier getting a little bit out of whack in his chase. Huge opportunity here for the young driver to perhaps take out one of the biggest up-and-coming drivers, but Rome surging forward there towards the end and across the finish line.
Wow.
Like a great start there from Connor O'Sullivan, Ken, getting out to that first outside zone.
Yeah, Connor had a great lead run, actually, and I don't know what happened at initiation, but Rome just seemed to fail at initiating or getting the car to initiate. You can tell right here, he's struggling to get the car sideways, and then we'll see a few more mistakes from Rome, but yeah, Connor's run up front was definitely a solid run, something for Rome to definitely close the gap and keep a clean run. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Rome's car. It might be mechanical, but it just doesn't seem like the same Rome that we saw last night.
Now, put yourself in the shoes of Rome here. The chase driver goes to the lead. I mean, that's an incredible way to bounce off the wall there. He had a little bit of a flub, and there are a couple little mistakes, but he started off really strong. Now, Rome has to kind of come back and really push the tempo here in the lead position and hope that Connor falls back. I mean, that's kind of what you're hoping for if you're in Rome's camp.
Right, but at the same time, Connor now has to decipher if Rome's car is having some sort of issues, because if so, like he has to...
He doesn't want to crash.
Right, he has to calculate that and put that into consideration. So we'll see how the second run plays out.
Here we go, second run. On the box last night with Rome Charpentier. Can he do it again? Or with the young driver, Connor O'Sullivan, make a name for himself? Here goes Rome. Much better job. Getting out to outside zone 2. Trying to establish a little bit of a gap here. Great angle by Rome out front. Here comes Connor bringing home the rear end there. And I got to give it up to that kid. For a driver in the Pro Spec Championship, just making a name for himself. He just went up against one of the top guys in the sport. And walk us through this, Ken, as Rome takes the lead.
Yeah, Rome, it doesn't seem like his car's having issues, actually. He had a pretty solid lead run up front. Pretty much hit all the marks on the outer zones, had a clean initiation, good transition into touch and go through the inside clip. But at the same time, Connor, played a smart, kept it clean behind him, made really no major mistakes.
The chase certainly seemed like it helped his overall value proposition in the whole scheme of things, right? Like, had he fallen off so much, then it might have been much more clear who gets the result here. Now you guys are left with a tough decision to measure run 1 and run 2 and who did better overall.
Absolutely, and in Connor's case, I mean, you have to consider, like, keeping it
close
so he doesn't get... Wow.
Connor O'Sullivan gets the win, and it is unanimous. A big knockout right there. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all right.
That's a big victory.
We're all excited up
Connor,
here.
But it was the combination of the run in run number 1 and run number 2, and just being more consistent overall.
Right, I think the biggest factor for myself as a judge was just the mistake that Rome made in his chase and at the initiation and at inside clip number 1. He seemed to struggle keeping up with Connor right before the finish line.
All right, our next battle up, Jonathan Hurst and Casey Cole. Now I know Casey had a moment last night, talked to him a little bit afterwards. Thought he could have made a couple little of adjustments to get the win. He's going up now against Jonathan Hurst. If you guys haven't seen this guy drive, it is insane. It's a smoke machine in a lot of different ways, very consistent. Nice initiation, gets back on throttle, pushing out. Casey not giving him any room. Wall to wall there for Jonathan Hurst. Oh, and Casey loses the front end, now left playing catch up. Has to grip up there, try to close the door on Hurst. And Hurst hit that first outside zone pretty decently, but that was amazing on outside zone 2 in the lead position.
Yeah, Casey had a pretty aggressive chase at the initiation, all the way to outer zone 1. Unfortunately, at outer zone 1, at the transition to outer zone 2, he made a slight mistake right here, kind of ended up a little bit shallow, and straightened up going towards outer zone 3. In the meantime, Jonathan Hurst up front, man, that guy is just a maniac. Did you see how much angle he threw at outer zone 3?
Oh man, that was intense. I mean, right here is good. Outer zone 2 is better. Outer zone 3 might be better than outer zone 3.
Yeah, Yeah, unfortunately, he had a slight mechanical issue last night, which prevented him from going all the way to the finals. But I think he's here to definitely redeem himself.
Yeah, well, last night he said that he may not get it back ready for today if it's something substantive. But luckily, it was something that he could fix with the tools and resources that he had here, we're able to get back out there. So we've seen run one. Casey Cole now will go to the lead position. Hurst is going to chase him down. There's going to be a bit of strategy here, try to figure out the best possible roll, but at the same time, knowing Hurst, he is going to play an aggressive chase.
But Casey's no slack either. He's a great driver and pro spec, definitely one of the talented drivers in the field.
Here we go, Casey trying to take a swing at Giant. Nice initiation, pretty smooth. Quickly back on throttle. Trying to put a plume of smoke up. Pretty decent job on one. Oh, good adjustment by Hurst. And some contact there. Looks like Cole may have had an adjustment coming off of outside zone 2. Oh, and the front end washes out. Very reminiscent of last night, almost the same place where he washed out last night. And it looked like, Ken, there was something starting to brew right in front of us here. It continued on, and then the run ended.
Yeah, unfortunately for Casey, as soon as he left outer zone 2, he shallowed up quite a bit, really giving nowhere to go for Hurst in the chase. And we might have seen a little bit of contact actually in front of us at outer zone 3.
I think so.
And then after the touch and go, we saw Casey kind of go way off of inside clip number 1 towards the wall. So just like last night, like you mentioned, he might be having some sort of a mechanical issue there. It's either his steering is binding or his engine's cutting off or something. You can see he's fighting the wheel at outer zone 3, which caused Jonathan Hurst to maybe even have contact there, and then we see Casey go off.
Is the racing line on this track, so the inside line, not the wider line that you guys drive, is that much more gripped up than where we drive? So if you come on the inside, are you going to be, basically gripping up and trying to keep the car in drift?
I mean, it depends. The conditions are constantly changing, but yeah, typically the area where there's more rubber is definitely grippier until the rain falls, like we saw last week.
Yeah.
But then, the closer you get to the wall, actually, then it's looser because there's a lot of tire debris right by the wall, and the tire debris actually has nowhere to go.
Yeah, no, it is such a challenging track. Watching you guys drive on it is so impressive. So we saw Jonathan Hurst take the win there. He's moving on into the Final Four. Now it's Daniel Stuckey and Robert Thorne. This should be a really good battle. Two great drivers in the Pro Series. Robert Thorne, former Pro Spec champion, making his way up. And Daniel Stuckey having some real impressive moments in the Pro Series, developing that program alongside Casey. And now ready to do battle under the lights here in Long Beach. Beautiful night here, still a little bit chilly. Much better than rain. We were getting sideways rain when we were up here last night. I know you guys are probably getting soaked, but the rain was coming in sideways. So we kept moving this way last week.
Yeah, our windows were fogging up.
Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. They are off. Red lights go down. Stuckey, center course, moves it onto the outside line. Robert Thorne looking for an area to attack. Trying to stay on the line as Stuckey does. Stuckey goes super deep in outside zone 2. Robert Thorne keeping the pressure on, trying to maximize these opportunities to close the door. Great navigation through that final inside clip by both drivers, and a pretty clean lead run there to kick things off, Ken.
And a clean chase run. I mean, you can't have a clean or a nice chase run without a good lead run. So got to give it up to Stuckey for having a clean, smart play up front. You can see right here, he has a flick into initiation towards outer zone 1. I feel like he could have gotten a little deeper at outer zone 1. Nice play at outer zone 2. Good flick into outer zone 3. And then right behind him, we see Robert Thorne just keeping proximity towards touch and go and the inside clip number 1 through the finish line. So,
for you, when you're driving from 1 to 2, are you trying to have max angle as soon as you enter the zone and outside zone 2, or progressively bring angle on and drive maybe a little bit differently depending on what's going on, what the conditions are, things like that? What's the goal there in outside zone 2?
I mean, the goal is to make it look as most dynamic and aggressive as we can. And of course, the quicker rate to rotation looks better for the judges. So we're definitely trying to get to max angle right at outer zone 2.
Yeah, no, for sure. That definitely does. I love when you guys go lock to lock, really fast transitions, looking aggressive, but still smoky. All right, here we go. Run number 2, Robert Thorne. Fresh air out front. Oh, look at that. Daniel, he dives in. There was contact at initiation. And Robert Thorne is going to play this out. Now, Robert Thorne, because there was contact there, if he's not at fault, that would mean that Stuckey would have an incomplete on that run, and he would lose that battle. And it will pop up. The judges will be able to tell us that pretty quickly on how they went in this direction. But Ken, there was certainly contact there, and we see Stuckey stopped. Tell us from your naked eyes first and your recollection as we get the replay up. What do you think transpired?
Yeah, before I can even see the replay, I just want to I want to know if there was anything going on up front, which I didn't think there was. I mean, Robert Thorne's initiation was nice, aggressive. It just looks like Stuckey had shallow angle. He was trying to play catch up and couldn't get the car to slow down in time to get to outer zone 1, and unfortunately had contact. So.
Yeah, and if you're looking at those lights on the car, green obviously means that they're accelerating, yellow means they're starting to go to slow down, and red means they're decelling, which is a definition for Formula Drift that's proprietary. And if we go back to that, you can see that there is some red lights popping up on Stuckey's vehicle as they get close, just past initiation, but on the lead car, it's more neutral and more green. So I think the judges may have a result here, and it looks like Stuckey's car is still down.
Yeah, good thing for us, we have a camera that's facing towards the starting line, so we can see everything that's going on all the way up until initiation. And if you guys are in the stands, you can probably only see what's coming out towards turn 9, towards outer zone. So you really can't tell what's going on. But we saw Robert Thorne carrying a lot of angle coming towards outer zone 1.
See, he a little bit of a yellow on initiation, which is natural, but
right, but then you'll
full
see
reds right there.
Full reds, so he's full lock, trying to get the car to slow down, and unfortunately we saw impact there.
I mean, how, as a driver, when you're trying to, let's get the result here real quick, and it is going to be Robert Thorne getting the win, moving on. So we've now started to fill our bracket up all the way. We've got one more battle in the Grade 8 on the right-hand side, and the final 4 is starting to lock up, but that battle will be a bye by Forrest Wang. Kyle Mohan is out of competition, so that does mean that the final 4 is filled up completely. What I was kind of wanting to know is, when you're coming into initiation as a chase driver and trying to figure out, exactly when you should initiate relative to the other driver, is that a driver by driver type thing? Like, oh, I know that this guy goes middle course and then goes to the outside wall. I know this guy is an e-brake pole. I know that this guy has this kind of initiation. And then you just adapt based on that and from what your spotter's telling you?
Well, yeah, you're right. So the spotter's role is to basically be our eyes in the skies. And obviously, us drivers, we don't know what every other driver is going to be doing out on track. And for the spotters, it's their job to know every single detail about our competition. So starting from practice, they'll be up here at the spotting tower watching each driver's initiation style, how aggressive they are in transitions, how close they get to outer zones. And then from their notes, we'll decipher, okay, so if he's going to be at the wall in outer zone 1, or if he's going to be initiating by the second cone, I should anticipate that I should be sideways by his door at the second cone.
All right, well, we are going to get Daniel Stuckey off course. We'll take a quick break, make sure the track is in good working condition, and come right back here and wrap up Super Drift.
Like that now, do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south, east to the up and down on the dance floor. Do you like that now, do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south, east to the west, yeah, we're going out. Do you like that now, do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get 4, 3, 2, 1. Shout to the north side, shout to the south. Step to the rhythm down on the dance floor. Do you like that now? Do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south. East to the west, yeah, we're going out, out. If you're in town, then give me a shout. Why you want that? Shout to the north side, shout to the south. Step to the rhythm down on the dance floor. Do you like that now? Do you want more? Yeah, I get hype, yeah, I get raw. Shout to the north side, shout to the south. East to the west, yeah, we're going out, out. If you're in town, then give me a shout. Why you want that? Take it back to your house.
Look at this, it's a sold-out crowd. Welcome to the streets of Long Beach. Make some noise for the Gym Nation. This is a year to watch. Probably the most talented in the world.
He's exploding towards his first outside zone.
Ooh.
Perfect.
Yo, Ryan Kirk wants it. Three lights are on. That third out is go. Send it, here we go. Look at this. Whoa, James Dean explodes that fast bumper. Oh boy. Tangled up. Oh no. Big hit.
That was a fun one.
That was going to be a banger for us.
Wow, this is an absolute gladiator battle right here. Yes! Good job, Steve. Matt Field spins and goes into the wall. Your winner, Matt Field! You paid for the whole seat, but you're only going to use the edge. That's a hard act to follow. Wow.
All right, welcome back here. We have moved the vehicle off course and we're getting ready to get the final four underway. We've got to make it official for Forrest Wang. That's also a good thing for us because he's really fun to watch drift. We appreciate you guys coming out here on a Saturday night. A beautiful event put on by the Grand Prix Association of Long Beach and the City of Long Beach and all of the wonderful agencies that put on this amazing event. This is a great way to cap off a Saturday. And happy birthday, Paul Hansen out there. Got a note from a friend to say hi. So great to see you guys out here. Forrest Wang in the box. Ken, you did battle with him last week. What's it like driving next to Forrest?
Well, actually, earlier today, I congratulated him on his win. He said, quote unquote, I wish I drove like this last week against you. But I mean, we're about to see something special here. Forrest probably has a lot more laps here at the Grand Prix of Long Beach than a lot of the drivers that are competing tonight.
I will lay out, but when he put 6 up, that blew me away.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's just a by run, right? He doesn't have to go that hard at Outer Zone 3.
No, he doesn't.
But he does.
But he did.
That's Style King right there.
Yeah, he is obviously a fan favorite, been around drifting for a very long time, has progressively built in new attributes into his program, speed along with keeping the style aspect of it, big angle, and he is going to be our last driver in the Final Four. So we've got the prospect driver, Connor O'Sullivan, going up against Jonathan Hurst, our first battle on the left-hand side of the bracket.
And they're teammates, by the way.
That's right, that's right. And then we've got Robert Thorne, who just made his way in, and the gentleman you saw there, Forrest Wang. Well, last night was crazy. We had a packed house here, Ken. Got a little bit wild there for a few moments.
I mean, we're all excited to watch drifting, right? We had a lot of spectators with really no space to stand or sit, and kind of stalled the show a little bit, but tonight seems like another great crowd we have here.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, we're so grateful and honored to be in this position right here to be able to do drifting, on real city streets as we see it. I mean, technically that part is the street over there, and that part is the street over there, and this is kind of a parking lot that they've been transformed into part of the Long Beach Grand Prix street course. But the surfaces are so different in this area of the course. I really am just amazed about how you guys are able to adapt, particularly when the conditions are not as consistent.
You're right. I mean, consistency is key here, which there's a lot lacking in consistency in the track conditions. But especially now, since the temps are dropping, the grip levels are changing, these drivers are going to have to adapt to the ever-changing track conditions.
Right about now, we started to see a few kind of like anomalies in the driving, right? Once the sun went down, we had practice in basically kind of like the sun was still kind of out, still a little bit warm. Now it's cool. You want to put the hoodie up. I was wearing a double layer jacket last night, and you know, we started to see some effects from that. And so I wonder how the drivers will be able to make those adjustments here on the second night.
Right, and for a driver like Connor, who doesn't have many laps here at Long Beach, you know, we'll see how he attacks Outer Zone 1, because that's especially where the conditions change the most.
All right, here we go. Red lights extinguishing. We are underway. First battle in the final four. Connor O'Sullivan, the Prospect driver, taking on Jonathan Hurst. Does do a pretty good job getting out there, but Hurst is not going to let him get away. Hurst closing the door. Two teammates coming through the center section of outside zone 3. Hurst on the inside. Oh, and Hurst comes up tight. Not sure exactly what happened there. Maybe a slight bad prediction and where to transition from the touch and go, Ken, but take us through it.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent run by Connor up front. Could have been a little bit deeper in the outer zone, in pretty much all the outer zones. He was just a little bit shy there, and then pulled the handbrake at outer zone 2. We kind of want to try to avoid pulling the handbrake outer zone 2. Really nice outer zone 3, but then he had an early transition towards inside clip number 1, which might have thrown off Hurst in the chase.
Do you think Hurst here is being like careful, 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 not too close, not too close?
Ooh, Hurst? No, I don't think so. No, he's definitely not.
In terms of not wanting to misjudge where Connor may be driving on course.
I don't think so. No. Yeah, I just think that was a genuine mistake by Hurst in the chase at the touch and go.
Okay.
We saw him pretty much beeline straight towards the inside clip, and you know, that's very un-Hurst-like. I feel like he doesn't really usually make mistakes like that in the chase.
And that's why we do 2 runs here. So we're going to see these drivers switch positions. We saw, I guess, what you would consider to be a pretty good start there by Connor, an aggressive chase by Hurst with the mistake there towards the end, and now we get to wrap it up with this second lap.
Yeah, and this is really where Hurst shines up front. I mean, he's got some wild, aggressive driving techniques and styles, especially at the walls.
Incredible lead runs last weekend.
Especially against James.
Against James Dean. Really knocked it out of the park. Continues to make a name for himself. Let's see if he can do it again here. Under the lights. Big long e-brake pull, but pushes out. Comes up a little bit short on outside zone 1. Oh, out to 2. Much better drop. But look at the young boy. Look at the young kid.
Wow.
Connor O'Sullivan not being fake. Oh, and got contact at inside clip 1, but they drive through it.
Wow.
I guess they must be teammates.
Yeah, maybe I spoke too soon earlier. That was very un-Hurst-like in his lead as well. He was very shallow at outer zone 1, almost choked Connor in the chase, which I believe is why Connor's chase at the initiation was a little bit sloppy.
Well, this would definitely be big bragging points amongst the teammates if Connor were able to pull up an upset here. Let's walk through this again, Ken, and just tell us what you think happened and what went wrong or right for either driver.
Well, it was kind of a long handbrake pull by Hurst at initiation, and very shallow at outside zone number 1, which threw off Connor in the chase. Pretty decent job at outer zone 2 and 3. And then in the chase, we see Connor pretty much lining it up towards Hurst's door, and then we see Hurst run a pretty tight line at inside clip number 1, and we see a little bit of contact there.
All right, so not what I think you would expect right out of the gate, but again, too, because these guys are driving together quite often, maybe we should have expected that. It was a really close battle. Both drivers with a couple mistakes here and there, and a lot for the judges to weigh. So, results coming in. Who's it going to be? Connor O'Sullivan or Jonathan Hurst? I see one score going in. I see the weight. Oh yeah, okay, cool. You're on the thread. Judges really taking a look at this, but I see at least one score in. All right, starting to drop. All right, it looks like we are gonna roll it over. Oh, and it's a split decision, is that right? Okay, one driver going for Jonathan Hurst and two going for Connor O'Sullivan. Definitely a crazy battle. I could certainly see something like that happening. But the young buck, Connor O'Sullivan, unbelievable, takes out Jonathan Hurst, is moving on into the finals. The weightiness of the mistakes is always, in my opinion, from standing up here for 21 years, when it's not an incomplete, is the hardest thing about this whole gig.
Yeah, it is, and you also have to consider, you know, comparing their leads to their leads and then the chase to chase. Who, you know, in this case, both drivers had mistakes, but who made more mistakes or the bigger mistakes, and how long was the duration of those mistakes?
And also, what was the cause and effect relationship from A to B?
Right.
That may have played a role in a mistake, you know, and you don't want to weight it too much to the effect if it was actually the cause. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, a winner from last night. Forrest Wang taking on Robert Thorne. Now, this ought to be pretty good here. These are two strong drivers. Forrest wants number 7. So number 7, I mean, who's won 7 of anything? That is pretty awesome. Can he do it again? Robert Thorne wants to take him out. As the lights extinguish, we will get things underway. I love that shot right there. Smoky background. Neighbors looking down. And here we go. D-cell lights, all green. And for Forrest, right back onto throttle, way out to outside zone 1. Incredible. But Robert Thorne sticking with him. Oh, now cuts the line. Give Forrest an advantage in outside zone 2. Thorne a little shaken up there near the touch and go, takes out that cone. And once again, a solid lead run by Forrest Wang. We saw Thorne keeping proximity, but maybe not matching the line as well as he could. And as we circle back around and the smoke clears, Ken, let's take us through that run.
Yeah, really solid lead run by Forrest. I mean, this guy's been on rails since last night. He's been running the same consistent lap every single time, you know, wall to wall from outside zone 1 to 2. And we see Robert Thorne, you know, really good proximity in the chase. Just, it's got to be hard to match Forrest's angle throughout the zones. And we see just a slight mistake from Robert Thorne at inside clip number 1, but again, you cannot have a good chase without a good lead, and that was probably one of the better leads we've seen all weekend,
right?
Especially tonight from Forrest. So
yeah, like the logic of a lead run is if I give you a good lead to chase, then the expectation is that you should be able to do it.
Right.
And if I don't give you a good lead to chase, then I'll do the best that I can, but I'm going to try to hit it out of the park in my lead, so that way I've got an advantage over you.
Right, yeah, and I think in this case, Forrest is, you know, just out there playing his game, you know, just doing his runs, run after run.
All right, so Forrest Wang now going to the chase position. Robert Thorne will take the lead. We saw the lead run that Forrest had, and we saw the chase from Robert Thorne. If you're at home judging, now you can measure them together.
And we know Robert Thorne is a very fast, quick driver.
A lot of power in that car. Quick, snappy. Oh. Big D-cell lights on initiation. And Forrest was closing the door there. Yeah, this will be a tough one. I'm certain about it. It was a big D-cell on initiation. And it is a D-cell zone, but we kind of know the tendencies of drivers. So judges are definitely going to have to dig deep into the analysis here and decide whether or not Thorne was decelerating too much before he got back on throttle, or if he was outside the decel zone. There was definitely a big lockup of red lights there. There is a decel zone in the initiation, but right here, red. So that's kind of what you guys need to decide. Was Forrest too close, and it's an acceptable decel from Thorne, or did Thorne decel a little bit too long or too aggressively? But Forrest jumped right back on. It didn't matter, even with the contact or whatever, and kept in the battle.
Yeah, I mean, part of, being the chase driver is really anticipating when the lead driver is going to get back on throttle.
Yeah.
And in this case, I just feel like Forrest failed to, basically calculate where Robert Thorne was going to be back on throttle going towards outside zone number 1. So this is where I hate being a judge.
Yeah, I know. It is like the most horrible job. Like, you got to be crazy to do it. We are getting a request for another replay from the judges that are sitting below us, Ken. Just want to take a double, triple look. I think they want to go back to the initiation. So if you could give us camera 9 leading up into initiation, it's pretty much all going to come down to that. I mean, it is a decel zone, as you said, Ken, right? And like, he is getting back on throttle.
Yeah, we can totally see Robert Thorne get back on throttle before the hit, and it doesn't appear to me that Robert was playing or was on the handbrake too long. And like you mentioned, it is a decel zone, so that is a point where the chase driver does have to anticipate some sort of deceleration.
We do like to see them push that line out to the furthest wall on outside zone 1, but it's hard to know for me, not being a judge, whether or not that was unable to happen because of his approach, or because if there was contact there that then caused him to, make an adjustment or whatever. All right, scores are in. Is it going to be another upset, or does Forrest Wang continue the route of dominance? Here we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And it's Robert Thorne, another split decision here. 2 judges going for Robert Thorne and 1 going for Forrest Wang. All right, so we are seeing what would appear to be at least super drift upsets here tonight. And those are going to come down to the very slight nuances and where, well, like what we just said, where you place the blame on fault and what direction the causation is going and things of that nature. But that takes us to the finals here. Connor O'Sullivan and Robert Thorne. Forrest Wang, after 6 victories here at Super Drift, is knocked out.
Yeah, well, going back to the collision or the impact, had Robert stayed on handbrake at the moment of impact, I feel like the call would have went the other way. But he was on throttle at the moment of impact, and in my eyes, I feel like it was fair play at that point for Robert.
I mean, I think that's a lot of integrity for. You went for Robert. You did. You went for you voted for Robert, right?
Yes.
I think that's a lot of integrity for you, because everybody knows, like, Forrest's been around for a long time. You guys are buddies, this and that, da-da-da. Robert's kind of a new kid here. I mean, you went with your heart and looked at and analyzed it and said, hey, this is what I think, and I can certainly respect that as a judge. All right, here we go. One final break before we get to the finals. 2 new guys. Unbelievable night of drifting here under the lights. Super Drift. Final round. We'll be right back.
The final touch to my dream build is a Sony Mobile ES system. Time to cruise with Sony Mobile ES.
On race day, when you want to show everyone out there who's the best,
Here we go, Frederick Osbo.
you really need to be focused. I tell myself, I got this. I'm the best there is.
The star is Frederick Osbo.
Looking for what comes next? For that moment when everything finally...
1 minute!
Whichever path you choose, it starts here.
Welcome out to Road Atlanta. This is round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Set it! Here we go. Yo, let's go. Now he's looking strong up front. Boom! Oh boy! Guess what? Old Captain Clutch Kick is back. How awesome is this? Banging doors, getting aggressive. Wow, Christoph making his presence felt. Big initiation there for Frederick Oswald. That was proper execution. Whoa, are you kidding me? Look at that.
Oswald starts to walk him.
James Dean opened the window of opportunity here for Frederick Oswald. James Dean gets the win. That was awesome.
That is the next stop of the championship, Road Atlanta. Ken Goosey's favorite course. Told us that last night. If you are just tuning in, we are in the finals, and it has been a crazy night of drifting. This is basically pretty much what it's like, what it's been for the past 20 years. Just insanity, unpredictability, Murphy's Law, every single event, all the time. If it can happen, it will. And it definitely ages you. It certainly has for me. But that's why we love it so much. We're about to get things underway here, just finishing up our tire changing. We've got our 3 judges doing duty up here, making some tough calls tonight. And that is the nature of this game. As we revisit here in the booth with Ken Goosey, we're making our way to the finals. Somebody is going to be really excited tonight. Now, the one thing that we can mention is Forrest Wang, because of how he was positioned, will still get 3rd place. So he's going to stay on the box, but it's going to be a brand new champion here and 2 new drivers coming in between Robert Thorne and Connor O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for these 2 up-and-coming drivers. Obviously, Connor is going to be competing in the Pro Spec Series. And then we see Robert Thorne in the Pro Series. But 2 newcomers into the finals here at Super Drift.
Yeah, it's really nice to see some new blood coming into drifting in general, and in particular with the Pro Spec drivers that have been building their programs out. They seem to be getting more and more professional, smarter and smarter, learning from guys like yourself and taking those lessons that they learned into track, into their programs. So, one quick final touching break here. We will come right back and get the finals underway. Just waiting for Connor O'Sullivan and Robert Thorne to get those tires on. Be right back.
Alrighty guys, so we just rolled up to the explosive ordnance disposal. We're gonna go put some bomb suits on and pose some little robots and check and see what that's about.
Yeah, so this is our large platform, the F6, kind of all reliable. Basically, we do everything that we need to do. It's got a whole bunch of different cameras, detection equipment. They can lift about 45 pounds close range and 15 when it reaches out. We can get this thing to go upstairs.
M-Tigger, this is our deployed robot that we use for more like recons and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not as big as these guys, so it is backpackable, so you do lose some of the abilities that the other robots have. But for doing like recons or bringing down like a counter charge to actually blow up an ID or something like that, it gives us the main ability of a robot, which is to stay remote.
The EOD-10, weighs around or just under 80 pounds. It's meant to, if you are deployed, if the robots can't do the job or can't do anything or if it's something that we need to get our hands on and be really intricate, we'll go down, dress out in this bomb suit to protect us from any unintentional explosions. So some of the protective measures we have is a big metal plate from the whole midsection down to here. And we also have metal shin pads as well. The whole rest of the suit is Kevlar reinforced. So it's protective, but you also gotta be careful of the benefits. It gives you protection, but you get super hot in it and you could overheat, and then what we call bomb suit stupid. You really gotta make sure that your team leader is staying cool. You feel like it too, so you don't have a lot of flexibility. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
And sit. Just walk out.
Can you run a mile now?
Yeah.
You want to try to lay down and get up? See how that
Yes.
Just fall back to me.
All right, here we are in the finals with Connor O'Sullivan and Robert Thorne. Warming up those tires. And the burnouts have definitely changed over the years. You know, we started implementing these kind of circle burnouts, figure eights of the past few years. Once it became apparent how important it was to get heat in those fronts, Ken, when was the last time you did a straight line burnout in competition drifting?
A straight line burnout, you mean without warming up the fronts?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to sit
old school style, maybe 12 years ago?
More than that, I'd say 15, 18 years ago.
All right, so here we go. Tires are nice and warm. Final of the night. Battered, bruised, and beaten. Connor O'Sullivan on the right-hand side, but making his way. Pro Spec driver into the finals against Robert Thorne. And we are off. First, second, third, fourth. Right into initiation. Great job by Connor. Getting out to outside zone one. Look at Robert Thorne. The proximity is incredible, almost superseding the front wheels. Trying to manage the location of his line. Keep that driving pressure on, and you see the traditional racing skills coming out from Robert Thorne as he managed making those predictions and not crashing into Connor O'Sullivan. But for the young kid coming into the sport, you gotta say that was a pretty great way to start off the finals.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was too hyper-focused on Robert Thorne's chase, but he had really good proximity, and I almost forgot to watch Connor up front, but Connor's actually doing a pretty decent job up front. A little bit shallow at outside zone number one, but he's hitting all the marks after the transition to outer two, and I feel like Robert Thorne just got a little bit too anxious in the chase, and you'll notice that his lines start to shallow up pretty much throughout his chase. And I just feel like he really had nowhere to go. His car is probably much more gripped up than Connor's car. Right. So as soon as he got into the pocket, I mean, he had to lift or shallow up, and that's kind of what it appeared to me.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, the comment you made about distracted by Robert and not looking at the lead on that run. It's a weird thing that your brain does when you're kind of like trying to partition how you focus your attention, and why you need to go back and watch it again.
And that's why we have replays.
Yeah. It's such a hard thing to do, especially if the cars are moving around in different areas of the course. All right, here we go. Robert Thorne might need a little bit of a comeback here. Great initiation. Moving into outside zone one. Connor shallow in the chase. Oh no, is Connor going to give it away here? Can he rebuild it back up? It's a great lead here by Robert Thorne. And we see a stall there at the end by Connor O'Sullivan. He was charging through the first and second sections of the course, but Robert Thorne looked like he was matching, if not bettering, the lead run of Connor O'Sullivan as we take a look at it again.
Yeah, this time I made sure I was watching both runs, and it does seem like Robert Thorne had a better run up front than he was in his chase. Definitely wider at outer zone 1 than Connor was. And then hit the mark at outer zone 2. Really good proximity to outer zone 3, and a nice flick to touch and go. Really aggressive flick, actually. And a clean finish through inside cliff number 1. And we see Connor make a mistake out inside cliff number 1, as well as outer zone number 1 right here. He shallowed up, got on the handbrake, kind of lost focus of where his car was supposed to be outside of the pocket. And like you said, he might have thrown away that run.
It's a great way to kind of build back when you have that lead out front with the clean air, because there's no distractions. You might be able to overcome some mistakes in the chase position. And as you said, the leads are just so important.
It is, and I'll tell you, like, judging is so hard, because not only am I judging, but I'm also trying to speak on behalf of all three of us.
Multiple duties.
Yeah. Wow, I feel like we're at Summer Nats or something in Australia.
Yeah. Well, we're bringing our 3 drivers out. You can see that even though Forrest did not win here tonight, he remains the kind of undisputed champion of getting on the box here at Super Drift. But the battle was between those 2 guys in front of you right there. New to the program, a prospect driver, Connor O'Sullivan and Robert Thorne. Unbelievable way to cap off the night. An awesome event. Let's give you guys our results here tonight. In 3rd place, make some noise for Forrest Wang. And it was a big night. Last night, another big night tonight. Cold. The guys made some adjustments. And we saw some great drifting, and we see some new names developing. When I say the winner, you know who 2nd place is. Your winner here, 2nd night, Super Drift. Make some noise for Robert Thorne! And congratulations, a strong performance for 2nd place, Connor O'Sullivan. Congratulations, bud. That is it for us here on our 2nd night at the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. We're gonna pop some champagne as we get the media folks down there. And we leave from here to go to Road Atlanta. Round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, round 1 of the Formula Drift Pro Spec Championship. Kent, it has been an honor to be with you here tonight. I gotta say, you're doing amazing in the series right now. You're in a really good position. You're in 4th place. I wish you all the best. But more importantly, it's just good to spend some time up here in the booth. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'll tell you what, as much as I love watching drifting, I'd rather be out there driving with these guys. So you probably won't see much of me up here.
Well, we'll get you guys back down there on course. Congratulations to those 3 drivers, Forrest Wang, Connor O'Sullivan, and Robert Thorne. For Ryan Sage, Ken Gucci, Daijiro Yoshihara, and all of the fans here tonight, everybody from the Long Beach Grand Prix, Vernon's Vandevelde, all the way from across the world, staying with us for the whole week. Thank you, and good night.